Tonight's True Crime Time is on someone that I have covered before, Albert Fish. Albert was a deeply disturbed individual, and this video will contain disturbing content. It is not intended for viewers under 18 years of age. Viewer discretion is advised. If you are a parent, think of what your worst nightmare is. Now think about if that nightmare could somehow be 10 times worse, maybe 100 times worse. You might then be able to understand the extent of what Albert Fish did. Hamilton Howard Albert Fish was born on May 19th, 1870, and he lived until January 16th, 1936. Albert was an American serial killer, rapist, child molester, and cannibal who committed a minimum of 3 child murders from July of 1924 to June of 1928. In addition to his name, he was known as the Gray Man, the Werewolf of Wisteria, the Brooklyn Vampire, the Moon Maniac, and the Boogeyman. Fish once boasted that he had children in every state. When he said this, the verb had is not known whether he was referring to rapes or cannibalization. He also at one point stated that his number of victims was about 100. Fish was apprehended on December 13th, 1934 and put on trial for the kidnapping and murder of Grace Budd. He was convicted and executed by electric chair on January 16th, 1936 at the age of 65. Albert Fish was born in Washington, D.C. on May 19th, 1870. His father was American of English ancestry and his mother was Scots-Irish American. His father was 43 years older than his mother and 75 years old at the time of Albert's birth. Fish was the youngest child and had 3 living siblings, Walter, Annie, and Edwin. He started going by Albert after a dead sibling and to escape the nickname Ham and Eggs that he was given at an orphanage in which he spent much of his childhood. Fish's family had an extensive history of mental illness. His uncle suffered from mania, one of his brothers was confined in a state mental hospital, and his sister Annie was diagnosed with a mental affliction. 3 other relatives were diagnosed with mental illnesses, and his mother had oral and/or visual hallucinations. Fish's father, Randall, was a riverboat captain and by 1870 a fertilizer manufacturer. He died in 1875 of a heart attack. After this, Fish's mother put him to St. John's Orphanage in Washington, where he was frequently abused. Fish, however, began to enjoy the physical pain that the beatings brought, and of his time at the orphanage, he remarked, "I was there until I was nearly 9, and that's where I got started wrong. We were mercilessly whipped. I saw boys doing many things they should not have done." By 1980, his mother had a government job and was thus able to remove him from the orphanage. In 1882, at the age of 12, he began a relationship with a telegraph boy. The boyfriend then introduced Fish to such practices as urolagnia and coprophagia. In layman's terms, drinking urine and eating feces. Fish's most publicized murder was that of Grace Budd, who was 10 years old and supposedly the first victim that he killed. After strangling her, he then ate her over a period of days. This is bad enough to find out happening to your child. However, Fish went as far as to send Grace's parents a letter detailing how she tasted. That level of evil and cruelty is incomprehensible to me. He wrote to her parents about how he molested, killed, and then ate her. Luckily, as I said, he was executed by electric chair for this murder.